say I agreed with the points made by Deputy Connolly earlier when she said that she felt a little bit sick, actually, by the whole debate. And I think never more has the disconnect between this House and the real lives of Irish citizens been more apparent, to me anyway, than it was today. I mean, to see and listen to the Taoiseach waffle on about our great small nation and our people and how valiantly set our shoulder to the wind, to talk about words like sovereignty and independence, to me is actually an insult to the people who led the way to try and strive for Irish independence and equality. Now, I don't know if you know it, but today is the 33rd anniversary of the passing of the 8th Amendment. And your government repeatedly tells us that there's no rush in dealing with the damage of that decision. Meanwhile, the NHS do the job of our health service. Spotlight do the job of our state broadcaster in unearthing waste and political interference and corruption in industry here. And the EU do the job of our revenue. And the government talks about independence and sovereignty. Do you know what? Ye have some neck. The Taoiseach told us this morning, we do not offer special favours or deals on tax. Yes, you do. He said everyone is treated equally. No, they are not. Because the people in my area who mistakenly filled out tax returns in relation to property tax and pyrite and had revenue come after for them through no mistake of their own, or the single parent who didn't declare PAYE and gets hunted after, isn't meeting the resources of government rowing into their defence to challenge that decision. And yet the limited resources that our people need, ye see fit to squander in supporting one of the biggest multinationals on the planet. Now, it may be the case that the arrangement you made was legal. It may be the case that it wasn't exclusive to Apple. But isn't that actually worse? Shouldn't that not be the end of the matter, but really the start of it? Because if that is your defence, really what you're saying is that our laws aren't just economically or socially. And Irish people have a right to know how many other companies have benefited from those arrangements and at what cost to the hard-pressed Irish taxpayers who could get a benefit from it. Because, do you know what? I can guarantee you there isn't a single small or medium-sized business out there that benefited from this arrangement. There isn't a single small shopkeeper in my constituency in a property portfolio that was bought and sold to the likes of Cerberus, who is now being squeezed for every last drop of rent, while those who bought it out don't pay any tax in this country. They had no global profits to filter or launder, so I can guarantee you they didn't benefit from any of these deals. And by making the argument as you do and defending what you're trying to do, actually what you're saying is it's okay for corporations to pay negligible amounts of taxation. Well, I don't think that's okay. And I actually think that the debate has been false for a lot of today and a lot of what has gone on in the media over the last while, because to appeal or not to appeal is actually not the question at all. Whether, we should keep the windfall or are we getting some jobs out of it is really a bit of a red herring. What is at the heart of this debate is Ireland has been shown up to facilitate the transfer of wealth and the subsidisation of Apple shareholders with other people's money, and in return for a few coppers and a few pieces of silver. An insultingly small amount, I would add. And is it any wonder that Apple have cash reserves of over 230 billion? Because we facilitated a situation where they were not resident anywhere. And whether that money is claimed by Germany, the United States, France, or whatever, I don't actually care, because the principle that multinational corporations should pay fair levels of taxation has to be fought for. And you've some neck to go on about sovereignty when you're negotiating and facilitating in a TTIP agreement, in a CETA agreement, when you roll over and the European Union says, oh, we say you have to have water charges, and you say, okay, EU, we agree with you on that. And now suddenly you're interested in sovereignty. You couldn't care less about the sovereignty of the other European Union states who set taxation rates, and ye facilitated Apple in actually avoiding them. And the Taoiseach is wrong, and it's the last point I'll make, Ceann Comhairle, when he said that you're determined to have the highest international standards of tax transparency. Ye aren't prepared to do that, because if you were, you would move to support the measures that are in our motion, which are no waffle, very concrete, country by country reporting, full transparency and so on. But of course, you're not going to do that, because what you are going to do is continue on facilitating very wealthy people at the expense of taxpayers, not just in Ireland, but internationally as well.
Thank you, Deputy.